Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Cape Rugby TV. It's Wednesday night and of course your favourite rugby show. It's 9 o'clock as you know, and it's the time when we get everybody together and we talk about what's happening in the world of club rugby. I've got two special guests with me tonight, and of course they're no strangers to Cape Rugby TV. But before I go to them, we've got the Currie Cup trophy back here. Isn't this spectacular? It's kind of doing the rounds at the moment. My guest this evening, Anton Moorman, the coach of Hamilton's, of course head of coaching or owner of the Western Province Rugby Academy. Hello, Mullies.
Hi, Jay. It's great to be here. Director of Rugby at the Western Province Rugby Academy.
Director of Rugby, head of coaching at Hammies.
Yeah,
anything else we have to throw in there?
I am married, happily.
Happily married. For now, we were talking about this last week. It doesn't always, with the rugby. Anyway, we'll leave that. Faisal, you're not married yet, are you?
No, not yet, Judge.
Anything on the cards that we should know about?
Nothing planned.
Anything you want to let out to the crowd?
No, nothing.
Nothing yet. You're putting him in a spot. Listen, so thanks so much for bringing the Currie Cup trophy. I mean, what a honor again to have it here. We love having the Currie Cup here. You're doing a couple of rounds with the trophy at the moment.
Yeah, no, it's great. Obviously having the cup, and as the president said, getting it out there to the communities. We're out at the schools, taking it out to the clubs, and basically, just getting it out there.
Do you get a lot of impact when you get around to the clubs and the kids and stuff when they see the trophy?
No, definitely. I mean, I think it's it's an opportunity for the fans and that there just to actually see the cup live and that there. So I think for us it's great.
I mean, if I go look at this, I mean, this thing's got little placards here: 1895, 1897, 1946. It really does go back. The Rugby Football Challenge Cup, eh? Anyway, the Currie Cup trophy here with us in studio again. All right, folks, lots of rugby action. Of course, we managed to catch up last night, at least on Monday night, with the guys at Milnerton. The clubs are already busy with pre-season training. Let's quickly catch up with one of the strongman sessions held at Milnerton. Of course, lots of action coming up on the show still tonight. We'll show you what's happening in the world of the club-wise program. We'll also talk about, we'll talk to Mullies about what's happening at the academy. There's the Christmas, the kiddies party. So lots to catch up on. And of course, it was the Western Province Sports Council Awards, and we'll talk about that a little bit later during the show. So without me going straight into all of that, let's quickly take a look at the strongman training session at Milnerton as we get a taste for what the clubs are getting up to pre-season. strongman session at Milnerton, and clearly you need you need to think out of the box. You don't have to be hitting the gym there. So it looks like the guys are already hitting the action full steam. Millie, for you guys at Hammies, and in terms of the academy, okay, maybe not from the academy point of view, but let's first talk about Hammies. Pre-season started.
Yes, we started about a month ago. The broken away from the field totally. Just got the guys into the gym.
Yeah.
We've had a good turnout, averaging about 30 players at training.
Yeah.
And we just try to change the focus from field sessions. The guys do get a bit bored if it's rugby all year. So we're just building a bit of gears with the new players that have arrived at the club.
You got a gym at the club? Do the guys train weight sessions and stuff at the club itself?
We've got a gym at the club. So we, Maurice Cornelissen, who's our head biokineticist.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think he likes that word. He's our sports scientist. He runs the show, and he's proven over the last 2 years we've had a really low injury rate with the type of preparation that we've been doing, and hopefully the hard work pays off. The Community Cup starts a month earlier this year, or next year.
Yeah. When does it start, the Community Cup, Faisal? I think it's around the 14th of February or so?
14th, I think, round about there, 14th.
14th of February,
It's Community Challenge.
Community Challenge starts on the 14th of February, and the Community Cup, Melissa?
It starts on the 21st of February. That's the first game.
So it's the next week?
Yes.
Yeah. Community Challenge starts on Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
All right.
That's good plan.
Good plan. You see what I mean? This rugby stuff just gets everybody into trouble, right? We also managed to catch up with some of the ladies at Milnerton. The ladies have been doing particularly well, and it's good to keep focusing on them and keep pushing that aspect of development. Remember, keep your cell phones handy, folks, because a little bit later I'm giving you an opportunity to win for yourself a dinner voucher, the Vasco Tavern. All right, you need to SMS the keyword that I'm going to give you in a few seconds to 33280. So keep your cell phones handy. Let's catch up now with Chantel Sikkers. She tells us more about women's rugby. She was at Milnerton on Tuesday night.
Ek speel van 2004 af vrou rugby. Dit het begin in 2003. Ja, 2003, 2002 die rugby begin. En ja, ek speel van 2004 af en ja, going strong. Ek is nou gaan aftree volgende jaar. So dit gaan nou nie meer baie lank. Ja, nog so 1 seisoen. Ja, dit vat my baie lank om die 50ste game te kry vir WP. Dit is net 6 games 'n jaar. So ja, dit vat baie tyd. Ek sal sê dat as hulle 'n goal het om Springbok rugby vir die Springbokke te speel, dan moet hulle begin wanneer hulle so jonk is dat hulle onder 20's kan begin en dan moet hulle maar net die pad stap vorentoe.
Chantel Sikkers, of course, is very active in the world of Western Province women's rugby. We've seen her on TV many, many times. But some of the other ladies athletes also who have been particularly performing particularly well, and of course was also a nominee at the Western Province Sports Council Awards, was Danita Wenzel. Let's hear what Danita has to say.
Ja, is lekker. Ek geniet dit baie. Rugby is vir my 'n baie groot passie. En ja, het was 'n goeie jaar. Ja, WP gehaal en ek het 'n bietjie WP gespeel en van die pool games gespeel en toe oor met die UK toer en daar gespeel teen die Nomads en gespeel teen 1 toets teen Frankryk teruggekom. Dit was ons warm-up vir die World Cup teruggekom. En toe ons so 2 weke prepare mee in die Kaap en dis ons World Cup toe. En ja, ons almal weet dit het nie te goed gegaan by die World Cup nie, so ons het nie behaal wat ons wou gedoen nie. Maar ja, ek dink dit was 'n goeie experience, my eerste World Cup wat ek gespeel het en ja, ek het dit baie geniet. Ja, dit was nogal baie onverwags geweest. Ek dink ek het dit glad nie verwag nie. Maar dit is 'n baie groot eer en prestasie vir my geweest en ja, ek dink as jy hard werk kan kry jy wat jy ingesit het.
And what can we expect from you next season?
Ja, ek wil baie graag weer vir WP speel en as dit so uitwerk dat ons aan die kapbeslag weer Kaap toe bring. Ek dink ons baie groot geleenthede op die oomblik in vroue rugby, veral met die sevens wat nou recognized word as 'n Olympic sport en ook in 2018 wat dit nou 'n Commonwealth sport is. So ja, even mense wat jy kry beurse daardeur, so jy kan gaan swat en daar's baie dinge wat jy kan bereik daardeur. So ja, ek dink daar's baie geleenthede en ek dink dat dit is 'n goeie manier om in rugby in te kom en te behaal wat jy wil.
There's Danita, of course, flying the flag high, but another lady who flew the flag very high for Western Province was Natasha Hofmeister. Now, we've had Natasha on the show a few times, and she's walked away, I think, with the Sportswoman of the Year award, and she's played for the Western Province side as well as the Springbok side. Fantastic athlete. And while we had that opportunity, we thought we'd have a quick chat with Natasha.
I've been playing since I've been 16, so that will make it 13 years. I started playing in Boland and Worcester, local city. And then I moved to Western Province in 2002. Trying to make the 7th squad for 2016, so I think I've got a lot of work to do for them. We ended up in the semi-final, so ending up top 4 is still a big achievement out of all the ladies teams that there is, so I don't think we did too bad. We lost a couple of players in the semi-finals due to injury, so I think that kind of got to us, but I think overall we did good.
So lots of action happening there in the world of women's rugby, and that's exactly what we want. Faisal, women's development, a lot more focus on women's rugby.
I think, from our side as a union, that we're doing a lot and a lot of focus on women's rugby. Tonight we have our first meeting with the women's, the clubs, the planning for the new year. I think where we're going and with women's rugby now is also looking at the linkages between the schools and the clubs. So I think tonight's meeting is quite important. Also aligning ourselves with SARU's development plan as far as women's rugby is concerned.
What's their plan for women's rugby?
Look, I think what they've decided, is to take a 3-year break out of international rugby as far as 15s is concerned, and focus on developing women's rugby within the provinces and that. So we'll look at sort of a high performance centre for women. We will identify a squad and basically work with these goals and look at conditioning and look at trying developing them and that.
All right, so we're going to expect a big season for 2015?
Definitely. I think as far as province is concerned, the girls are busy at the high performance centre as well. So from our side, very focused and very committed and looking forward to the 2015 season.
All right, folks, we're going to take a quick ad break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the fixtures coming up in 2015. Remember, keep your cell phones handy for the Vasco Tavern dinner. 250 Rand meal voucher up for grabs. And all you need to do is SMS the word Vasco to 33280. We'll tell you more about that after the break. We'll see you in a sec. Right, so folks, if you want to get down to the Vasco Tavern, then all you need to do is SMS the word Vasco to 33280, and you'll put yourself in the mix to go and have a fantastic dinner to the value of 250 Rand at the Vasco Tavern. Excellent Portuguese food, really, really good. Go check out the peri peri chicken. Congratulations to last week's winner, Paul Bierkes. Paul wins for himself a 250 Rand meal voucher at the Vasco Tavern. All right, so support the guys at the Vasco Tavern. They support Cape Rugby TV, which of course supports Club Rugby. All right, well, take a look now in a couple of seconds at the Kiddies Rugby Day that took place at Cloutiesville. The kids were out there in action, of course. Lots of action happening at Cloutiesville. Faisal, let's just quickly talk about the fixtures. What can we expect next year?
Look, I think on everybody's mind is in terms of how the fixtures are going to be drawn and who's playing who and that. I think what people need to realize is that the fixtures from this year will be swapped. So if you played home, you would now be playing away. And right. I think what's also important, people also want to know about the teams that have been promoted and relegated. Where do they fit in? Obviously, number 13 will fit in on the position of the number 1 promoted team. Number 14 will be position number 2 promoted team. And number 15 will be the position number 3 in that. Do we know already what the leagues are and which teams are in the leagues? Yes. Well, obviously, from the logs in that there, the leagues have sort of been decided. Yeah. It's basically when you're playing. That's what I've got to now obviously draw up and decide. Will you have another draw this year? Is they going to? No, you won't draw. You won't need to do the ping pong ball, tennis ball draw again. No draw this year. We're very fortunate. I think basically it's just a challenge now of slotting everybody in, looking at the challenges, the universities, the fast days that certain clubs can't play in that. All right. Muliz, and on your side, is that something, at which stage do you guys as coaches start thinking about that? Start thinking about you playing at home, you're playing away, you start looking at your opposition. Have you started working it out yet, or is it too early?
No, we've definitely, our focus right now has been on the Community Cup for next year.
Yeah.
Traditionally, the leagues come out from Faisal normally late January, if I'm not mistaken. And then we start focusing on the league. But we've set ourselves goals throughout the season, and the first hurdle is to get through.
To win the Community Cup.
Absolutely.
And of course, you guys in Durbanville.
That's correct. Yeah, they had a long road. I think their final game was on the 15th of November out in Uppington, where they won. And congratulations to Jan and his team. It's great to have two sides.
Well, I think they put something like 80 points on top of Uppington.
They did, yes.
Ridiculously high score.
That's correct. Yeah.
I don't really know what was the point of. Why did they have to play in that? Why? Faisal, do you know why if you've got the two top teams in Western Province, why do you have to play against another team from? Are they Boland or where are they? Uppington, Northern Cape.
Yeah, I think Uppington. I think it's obviously giving everybody opportunity and a chance in that. You've got your, confirmed winners of each of the leagues, and then you've got your wild cards.
So it's a wild card playoff.
Sort of a wild card playoff.
Okay, so all right. So you guys had a guaranteed slot.
That's correct. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So Durbanville had to check if between them and Uppington.
I
think they played in this elite competition.
I think they played 4 knockout games.
Yeah.
So it was
4 knockout games.
4 knockout games. So it was they lost to Westbank, and Westbank got one of the wild cards, and then they fell into another repechage group and had another 2 games from there. So it was a long road.
A long season, yeah. All right, let's catch up now quickly with the kids at Cluttersville, or should I say Blake's? Is it Blake's or Cluttersville? What's the right name for it now, Faisal?
Cluttersville.
Cluttersville.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I think some of the guys there,
changing.
Some of the guys there might debate that issue, but the kids were having a lot of fun at Cluttersville / Blake's Rugby Club in Stellenbosch. Let's see what happened there. Kids at Cluttersville having a lot of fun there. It looks like the development side of rugby is going well, Faisal.
No, definitely, Japes, especially in the primary schools and that. A lot of kids, a lot of enthusiasm. It's just that we can't get out to all of them. So I think that's one of our biggest challenges and goals for next year is trying to get more of the regions on board in that.
Well, talking about the development side of things, of course, the club-wise program is something that you guys have been busy with. But we're going to talk about the club-wise thing in a second. Also staying a little bit of in line with development, Muli's the academy itself now. You guys seem to be filling a nice gap between going from school into a club, and then from there you might go to the Western Province Rugby Institute, and then from there you might play in the Vodacom Cup and so on. But from what I'm understanding, you guys are able to cater for call it a market almost between the younger level and the senior level.
Yeah, the academy just finished its first year. Basically what we've catered for is your under 19 to under 21 age group. The Western Province Institute catered for under 19s.
Right.
So there was that gap. We were losing a lot of kids between the age of 20 and 21 who potentially didn't have an option to follow in Cape Town. We've partnered with Varsity College, so the boys have got the option of following the high performance program and attending varsity, and then from there they filter into.
So how does it work? I mean, if I'm a kid in Cape Town or Joburg or Durban, and I've just come out of school, obviously you guys are for kids after school, right?
Yes.
Right. So what do I just apply at the academy?
You'll send through your CV. The CV is assessed. We have testing days. This year we had 2, one in July and one again at the beginning of October.
Yeah.
And we had just over 70 boys in total who came and tested.
What does a rugby player's CV look like? Because it must look a little bit different to a CV that you find on a normal job description.
Well, what we do is we obviously assess the level that they've played at.
Yeah.
We do look at their academic results because we are focused on trying to ensure that there is life after rugby, not just solely I want to become a professional sportsman.
You can't be a professional sportsman for the rest of your life.
No, exactly.
Well, maybe you can, because
The,
you're like a coach.
But so we do try and get the boys to
focus on stadium.
to focus on that.
Yeah.
But there are some kids that do come down who take on the year as a gap year.
Yeah, yeah.
But we've grown our numbers. We had.
Do the guys, do they sleep at the academy?
We provide accommodation.
Yeah.
We have some local boys who will live at home, but
Okay.
probably about 85% of the kids that attend the academy are live-in.
Yeah, right. So they
and
get their food and their meals and,
Absolutely.
and everything. And what does the average day look like at the academy?
In some of the boys will check in at about 7:15, and we'll work through until 12:15.
Yeah.
From there it's lunch and then off to accommodation, off to varsity college, and from there they start filtering into clubs. So they'll train at clubs at night.
All right. So the guys play clubs as well.
Yes, yeah, no,
Okay.
they've strengthened the club setups really, really well. It was great to see open clubs this year beating the universities. I know the traditional forces of UCT and Marty's dominating with massive scores in the under-20 leagues. Was turned around this year. We had False Bay, I know, had a great win over UCT for the first time in a number of years this year.
Yeah.
I think Hamilton's under 20s this year.
Guys, I mean, you guys are in the Tokai area, so
Yes.
I would imagine that the guys would probably want to go to. Do they get to choose which clubs they want to go to?
Yes, obviously the academy is there's a financial model linked to it, so the boys do pay to come.
Yeah.
So the boys get freedom of choice in terms of where they want to go play. We have an open day where clubs are given the opportunity to come in and present to the boys at the academy. And
It's a little bit like that old American draft system.
well, absolutely,
Yeah.
they come and sell their clubs.
Yeah.
The kids are allowed to go to training sessions, and then from there they make their decisions as to where they want to go and play. We obviously try and encourage that
So what happens
they
when-
spread themselves across a.
At which stage do the guys start playing games for the academy? Do they then play for Western Province, or are they potentially selected for?
What happens is we are obviously a Western Province initiative and an extension of the Western Province Rugby Institute.
Yeah.
So we train against the institute from February through until May.
Right.
We have a number of games against them.
Yeah.
We work. The coaches interact between both sets of boys, and then we play against the Boerland Academy. We try and add a little bit of a fun element as well, where the guys play in the Cape Town 10s. We go up to Vredenburg to play in the Vredenburg 7s. We try and get them to understand what rugby is about, the ethos around club rugby, and then they filter into the junior under 19 and under 21 trials. And we're happy to say that this year, out of the Western Province under 19 team that won the Currie Cup, we had 7 boys from the academy that played in that under 19 side during the course of the season.
So on a day like this, I mean, I would imagine that if they are playing, if I understand this correctly, they would if they play part of the academy and they belong to a club, they'll play Saturday games like everybody else.
Yes.
But if it's a provincial, they'll have to move away from the club on that day and then go play for the province.
They then filter into those training groups. They fall into that under 19 or under 21 training squad, and they then train as per the rest of the provincial teams.
And the clubs, the clubs are happy to accept the fact that because I mean, some of the clubs complain when you have to release your player to go play for the emerging team or for the Diocese or the provincial side.
There's. I always believe that as a coach, especially when you're dealing with youth, you need to coach for players to be able to move on.
Yeah.
I think there's no better accolade for a coach than to be sitting in the lounge watching TV, and there's a player that you've assisted to to get to the next
the
level.
Springbok.
So there are always going to be guys that are unhappy to see their talented players move on, but I know that the clubs are exceptionally proud of their boys that have gone on and played for the respective provincial teams.
Yeah, no, that's. I think that's fantastic. Faisal, does it work for you guys from a union perspective? I mean, it must bolster the clubs. You got 50. How many guys you got there, Mollies?
Well, this year we had 45, and we've increased our numbers to 70 for next year.
70.
Yes.
So you got 70 guys that are playing at clubs and adding some strength to those clubs.
I think, James, it just shows the amount of talent that's out there, and just with a bit of conditioning, and as Melissa said, just the mindset and that there, and the focus has changed. It shows you what you can do and what you can produce in it. And I think it's a great opportunity, and the work that they're doing is phenomenal. It's great, and hopefully, like Melissa says, it can just grow from strength to strength.
No, I think it sounds fantastic. We've got the institute doing well. We've got the academy doing well. All these various programs. I think you can understand why it is that Western Province Rugby won the Federation of the Year award at the council at the Western Province Sports Awards. Yeah, well done to Western Province, which I think, in my opinion, is South Africa's top sporting federation. It's fairly easy to understand why if you look at all this activity. We're going to take an ad break, and when we come back, we'll start taking a look at the club-wise program. Of course, the kiddies went out to the HPC on Monday. Was it Monday or Tuesday? It was last week.
Last week, yeah.
Last week, the kiddies went out to the Christmas party there, so that's a lot of fun. And of course, we're going to introduce you tonight to the guys from Milnerton, who kindly support Cape Rugby TV. There you see it on the back behind me. Milnerton Money Matters. We'll tell you more about them in a second as we introduce you to Graham Sinclair, the CEO of Milnerton Money Matters. We're back with you after the break. Welcome back, folks. Yes, Cape Rugby TV. Remember, you can find us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Cape Rugby TV, and tell us what you're up to, what's your current rugby activity. A little bit later in the show, we are going to also show you the highlights video from the Western Province Rugby Academy and some of the action that's happening there. Faisal, one of the activities you guys have been busy with is the Clubwise program. And there we've got a couple of pictures on the screen right now. There you can see the guys at the Western Province Rugby Union just prepping on the program and going through their notes and studying there. Some guys sitting behind their desks with their notepads out and pens and paper, and the lecture halls going on. Tell us about Clubwise. What is it? How does it work, and who's it for?
The Clubwise program obviously started from SA Rugby, and it's there to help and assist the clubs as far as administration is concerned, how to run a club in terms of putting structures within the club, marketing within the club. So it's quite an intense program. It's held over 2 days. Because it's accredited, NQF Level 5 accredited course.
What does that mean, NQF Level 5?
Well, basically means you've got credits in terms of it's recognized, by, it's not just a high school matric.
Okay, so it's a proper
it's quite
certified.
advanced in that, yeah, certified.
Willis, you seem to know what NQF 5972 is.
I'm a coach, Jam.
Level 1, 2,
You've
and
just
3.
got like an IRB number, that's it.
I think he just goes up to level 3.
Yeah,
1, 2, and 3.
All right, I think we all know what the NQF structures are. Okay, but let's break that down a little bit when you talk about administration. What's the typical kind of things that a club would struggle with in terms of administration? What does that mean? Filling in forms?
I think it's got more to do with the structures within the club, identifying the key role players within the club, but at the same time, looking at a club and trying to get them also to understand, you can't have one person running a club.
Yeah.
There's certain responsibilities, certain issues within the club that needs to happen. As far as a coach's job is to coach. You've got your chairman in terms of running and leading the club and the leadership within the club. So it's quite, like I said again, it's an intense program. It's, because it's accredited, you've got 16 hours. So on a Saturday and a Sunday, we have a full day.
Yeah.
And what's great about the course was that you had the interaction between your top clubs and the bottom clubs. What works, what doesn't work.
How many people did you have attending the Clubwise program?
Initially, our first course that we had about 25 participants. And in our second course, we actually cut it down, and we had about, I think it was 15, 16. But I think it actually works better with a smaller group. You get a lot more interaction with the coach, with the participants and at the clubs.
Very difficult.
And I think it was great as well, in the sense that each club, had opportunity to tell us how they run their club, what they do, what works for them. And I think it was great for the clubs to come out and and talk in terms of not just on the field but off the field. How do they run the club?
And when will you be doing more?
Japes, definitely. I think it's something that it's long overdue, and it's something that I think, you know, in South Africa, that is something that we lacking is administration. As far as rugby is concerned, I think rugby has grown, club rugby is growing, but the shortfall is administration. So for next year, we've got a couple of workshops planned. I think
Yeah,
for
of
the
course,
year.
we've got a couple of media workshops planned, some sponsorship workshops planned as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think
Yeah.
we're going all out. I think the focus next year is going to be off the field, trying to
Yeah.
get club rugby, the structures right, try to make it enjoyable for the player and the participants and the spectators.
Yeah,
as
those
well.
sponsorship workshops have always been a big hit, teaching the guys how to do media and, of course, now how to take advantage of television.
Yeah, I think definitely. And, you know, what I've seen this weekend as well, you've got the people there that are passionate, but where they're falling short is lacking in that department, the marketing, the sponsorship. How do they go out? How do they get sponsor? So, you know, with the course, it's about guiding them, showing them what they need to do, what to identify, what to look at, what
Yeah.
the sponsors want. You know, I
Yeah.
think
Well, what the
ultimately-
sponsors want. We seem to think we seem to forget about that. We seem to think that it's just a handout now. That you're going to look after the sponsors. Huh?
No, definitely. I think a lot of the clubs, the mindset has changed now. It's not just about asking a sponsor to put up an
banner.
advertising board,
Yeah.
to put advertising
You gotta
on a
interact.
jersey. You got to interact. You got to offer them a lot more.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, with the course, it's showing these guys what is needed to run the club and what do the sponsors want.
No, well, I think it's a fantastic initiative, and I look forward to seeing more of those activities. All right, folks. Of course, the other event that took place was the annual Kiddies Christmas party. We're going to catch up with that in a couple of seconds' time, so don't go too far away. And remember, if you want to win that Vasco Dinner Tavern voucher to the value of 250 Rand, then just SMS the word Vasco to 33280, 33280, and you can win it for yourself a fantastic Portuguese dinner at the Vasco Tavern in Alfred Road in Cape Town. Of course, one of our other keen supporters here at Cape Rugby TV is Matfin Money Matters. Now, you've heard us talk about Matfin Money Matters for a couple of weeks now as they've come on board with Cape Rugby TV, and they support club rugby in a heavy way. But it's a serious matter, the matter of debt. We managed to catch up with Graham Sinclair during the week, so we can introduce you to Matfin Money Matters. Now, Graham explains to us a little bit about how Matfin Money Matters can help you. If you're in debt and you're in a situation that you've got a home and you are permanently employed and your house and you own a house, then Matfin can certainly help you out if you've got equity in that house. Let's meet Graham Sinclair, the CEO of Matfin Money Matters. Of course, we are joined on the show this evening by Graham Sinclair from Matfin Money Matters. There you see him on the screen behind me. Graham, welcome to Cape Rugby TV.
JP, thank you very much. Good to be here and good to be supporting you guys and all the rugger boys out there.
Now, well, it's long overdue. I think a lot of people want to know about Matfin Money Matters. So we want to introduce you to the crew. Just quickly tell us, who is Matfin Money Matters? What do you guys do?
Well, JP, Matfin Money Matters we developed about 3 years ago, and it really is built around trying to help people that have got themselves into this debt crunch and don't know how to get out of it. Unfortunately, we can't help everybody, but those people that are homeowners that are permanently employed and have equity in their property, and that's something I'm sure we'll talk through.
What does that mean? What is equity in your property?
Okay, what it is really is the difference between the value of your property, in other words, what your property would sell for, and the actual existing bond that you have with a bank. So if you've got a property worth 500,000 Rand and you've got a bond of 100,000 Rand, the actual equity you've got in that property is 400,000 Rand.
Right.
Now, Matfin will take 70% of that and use that to help settle all the people's debt, clear their credit bureau records, and then look to get them back to the banks again to get a new bond with the bank and also be credit worthy after that, and they have one payment to make at the end of a month.
Why is it so important to get on top of your debt?
Well, you know, JP, a lot of people have got to the stage where they're just about to lose their homes. Their marriages are breaking up because of it. They can't sleep at night. They're too nervous to answer their telephones. You know, all these sort of things are really, in essence, the build-up to just having too much debt that you just don't know how to settle at the end of every month.
Is it a question of sometimes people are just a little bit uncertain about how to take the next step forward? They feel themselves sinking, and you guys, as Matfin, you can advise them in the right direction.
Well, yes, and as I said, unfortunately we can't help everybody, but what we have done is we have associated ourselves with other companies that we can refer people to. But as far as Matfin itself is concerned, the idea there is to make sure that we get people's debt settled, that it's paid away, and that they have one payment. So really what we do is we restructure that whole debt, and we'll take the expensive debt, being the personal loans, the credit bureau records, and all of that. We'll take that and we will then restructure that down to a home loan. So it'll go from around 25-30% to 17%, which is the interest they would pay Matfin. And then when we go back to the bank, it would reduce again down to between 10 and 12%.
Okay, then just in short, I mean, I'm sure that there's a million things that one can ask you. For folks out there who are watching Cape Rugby TV, how do they get hold of you? How do they sign up?
Well, JP, we've got a number of ways. Our website is very prominent. It's got a very simple, quick application on it, and that would be the first place that I would recommend people would go to. And it's a simple www.matfin.co.za. And then the other is the short code SMS that we've got, as well as we've got our email address as well, which is debt@matfin.
Debt@matfin.co.za.
Correct. And then the telephone number is a nice simple one at 021 801 0111.
Fantastic stuff, Graham. Thank you very much for chatting with us. I think a lot of folks have been wanting to know for quite a while now who's Matfin and how does Matfin help you. So, and we look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you, JP.
There we go, folks. Cape Rugby TV here with Matfin. Money Matters kindly supporting Cape Rugby TV. So now you know what keeps us going. And of course, with the likes of Matfin behind us, we're able to keep Cape Rugby TV going, which helps Club Rugby. We'll see you guys in a sec. All right, welcome back, folks. Yes, Cape Rugby TV. Remember the Vasco Tavern, then 33280. Just SMS the word Vasco to 33280, and you put yourself in the mix to go and win a lekker dinner voucher there for to the value of 250 Rand. Faisal, right, every year it's the kiddies, they come out there to the High Performance Centre. Obviously, there's a lot of space there. It's nicely centrally located. Just tell us a little bit about the event. How many kids did you have there? Where did the kids come from?
Japes, yeah, it's an annual event that Western Province obviously we host. We invite kids from the various homes within the Western Cape.
Yeah.
It's quite exciting. Initially, when I started, I had this vision of trying to get the numbers up. We're looking at 1,000, benchmarking 1,000 each year.
1,000 kids.
1,000 kids. But I think when I reached 300, 250, I decided then that's enough.
Okay, let's start. When you reach how much?
About 250 kids, I've realized, that's enough. I think that's a max amount of kids you can have in one space.
Let me interrupt you there. Let's take a look at some of the photographs here. Yeah, you can see the kids on the screen having a lot of fun there. Of course, there's the Curry Cup trophy as well, as we see the kids having fun on the field, and the police, and Father Christmas having a lot of fun there with the kids. Just having a bit of joy. Okay, so Fazil, what is it that made you decide this year you wanted to get the police out there? Because normally you have the fire truck rolling up there. The kids love the fire engine, eh?
I think, James, from our side, everybody wants to be involved. For the last 2-3 years, we've had the fire truck, and then we've also had our request from the police as well. They would also like to be part, and get involved in the community as well. So I think this year was something special. It was great having them out and having them involved.
I mean, it really is also an opportunity for a lot of these kids come from previously disadvantaged homes or orphanages, and kids are really struggling. I think if I'm right in what I'm saying, it's a little bit of an opportunity to engage socially for them, which they don't generally have.
No, definitely. I mean, having the kids there, having them at a party and that, I mean, it's phenomenal. It's great, to have them interacting. And like I said again, when I started, I had a structure and I had a plan. You start at this time, you go from stages, from one stage to the next stage. But with kids, There is no structure, there is no plan. I've slowly learned you just leave them and let them enjoy themselves.
What did you feed them? What sort of snacks did they have on the day? I know you guys always roll out the hot dogs and things like that, or
No, I think
chips and cool drinks.
Yeah, no, I think they were on a high. They had more sweets than they could handle and carry. And, thanks to the guys from Winners and thanks to some of the support and sponsors that we've got on board.
Yeah.
The kids, I think, the day was great.
Yeah.
The weather wasn't that great, but, we prayed. And I think from our side, the prayers were answered a bit in the sense that, the rain came and it went. So
Came in and out. And were they scared of the police at all? Because the police sometimes they rock up and you go, oh, we Buddha.
No, I think, not so much the police. I think there were more some of the little ones because we looked at, we catered for the kids from about 2 years until about 11. So we had some of the characters. I've even learnt now a few of the characters, Dora the Adventurer, Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse. We didn't have Barney this year, which, he's always a hit. Winnie the Pooh.
You have a jumping, of course, we saw the photograph of them on the jumping castle there, yeah.
I think we've had about 10 jumping castles, Jabe. So I think in the end, these kids, there was too much for them to do and there was too much excitement and that there. So it was a great day.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. All right, folks, of course it's the South African Sevens squad. Sevens playing at the moment. Let's quickly look there at the Dubai World Series team in the South African side. Ruan Nel, Philip Snyman, Frankie Horn, Kwacha Smith, Werner Kok, Kyle Brown, Branko Dupree, Rainer Benjamin, Warwick Galant, Cecil Africa, Sibela Sanatla, and Cheslin Colby. And incidentally, Sibela Sanatla, of course, won the Newcomer of the Year award at the Western Province Sports Council. And I think, was it Cheslin was also up as a nominee. Dwayne from Milnerton was up as a nominee. So the guys from Western Province really did fantastic there. Okay, so then it's the HSBC Sevens World fixtures in Dubai, and you can see it on your screen there. South Africa take on Portugal. That starts on Friday at 7 a.m. and then South Africa take on Canada at 10 a.m. and then at 10 past 2 in the afternoon, it's South Africa up against Wales. And then the South African Women's Sevens squad who are travelling to Dubai. Lorinda Brown, Pumeza Gadu, Rochelle Geldenhuis, Varushka Grein, Mose Piwo Goda, Jacqueline Krillnas, Sinazo Nobela at least, Marita Pinar, Fundiswa Plaichis, Martin Simmons, Zianda Travoleni, and Shona Lee Weston, the South African Women's Sevens squad on their way to Dubai, and a lot of Western Province rugby players in there as well. The Western Province women's, at least the South African women's team, playing in the HSB Sevens World Series in Dubai then for the women's squad. At 9 o'clock, it's South Africa up against Australia. Just after 12, you'll see South Africa take on Spain, and then just after 2, you'll see South Africa take on France. So that's a lot of action there. Now, Mullies, let's move our attention back to you in terms of the academy. We're talking about pre-season training. We had the guys from PAL out at the HSBC. They're also getting into it now in the club. To Vodacom guys are pre-season training. We know that you guys at Hammies are into the pre-season stuff. But I mean, you've been in the game for a long time. What is the kind of advice that you give the players from a pre-season point of view now? What is it that you start focusing on? Is it weight training, or do you just rest altogether? What do you go for?
Well, there's two different hats to put on here. I've mentioned already earlier that the Hamilton's side is in and training currently, but from an academy perspective, we have sent out a generic off-season program. There's a lot of the kids that have just finished writing their matric. Some of them up at the Pled Rage. Some of them are having a bit of fun, letting their hair down and relaxing. We encourage them to arrive in a decent shape, but we don't want them to go out there and train,
wear themselves out.
Exactly, train too hard and try and arrive in fantastic condition. Our program is designed to when we start to start building them slowly.
Absolutely, okay. Now it makes sense. But let's take a look at some of the action then of training on the field that you guys have at the academy there. And the guys then at the academy, they don't take it easy. They certainly have got a hard training session, and we managed to get out the academy and just have a look at what happens there at the academy in terms of the exercise. Let's see what happens.
can't breathe when I come through. Hum to some shoes, gotta be 20, man. It's not even funny, they can't. The chokehold's too tight, the left looks too right. You know what? You right. These can't. Look, they hearts racing, they start chasing, but I'm so fast when I blow past that they can't. In the presence of the man, your future look better than your past if you present with the man. You better. Can't share my air. I walk a mile in the pair I wear, and I'm getting better year by year, like they say wine do. Cops couldn't smell me if you brought the K9s through, and I pace myself. I know these money hungry wanna taste my wealth, but I keep them on a diet, embrace their health, or even keep them on the quiet, and space myself, and just take a deep breath. I got them grabbing their chest, cause it's hurting them to see fabbing is best, and they in they worst. They'd rather see me laying a hearse than laying the back, and I ain't just laying the verse, I'm saying the facts. I came back with some sicker stones, that got these broke looking at me like they choking on a chicken bone. Heavy chick up, can't leave it alone, so I know it's one of them. Every time I flip my phone, breathe. One and then the two and then the three and then the four, then you gotta breathe. One and then the two and then the three and then the four, then you gotta breathe. One and then the two and then the three and then the four, then you gotta breathe. Then you gotta.
Great little video there, Melissa. The guys obviously are doing quite a wide variety of exercises at the academy. It's not just gym work. You're using the strongman. A lot of people doing more strongman stuff now.
A lot more functional.
Yeah.
You can really increase the participation and the numbers that that work at a high intensity.
Oh right, that's
which we try to do. We've just actually at the academy we've just put a whole lot of racks outside now as well. So we've got like a Florida beach type outside.
You mean like a Venice beach?
Absolutely, very Venice beach.
Yeah.
Venice beach type gym that we're just installing at the academy now, which we're quite excited about.
Yeah.
And just healthy in the mountains, up in the Takai forest. We always say we don't need treadmills, we've got hills.
You got hills, natural hills.
Absolutely. And the guys really develop a fantastic work ethic. That video that we've just watched now, we use on our schools promo when we go out and present to schools, covering the initial conditioning phase and then through into various game-related
kids get
highlights.
excited. The kids must get quite excited when they see that video.
Oh, they do. I think boys love seeing themselves on the video. And they. So from an academy perspective, the kids that are filmed love it. But yeah, every young guy who has some kind of a rugby aspiration wants to be part of something that is successful. We believe that with Western Province and the Institute, we've created a really successful academy model, and we've definitely seen that the increase in applications for this year, as well as the caliber of player that has applied, has definitely we definitely put our name in the market, and we're getting a number of Craven Week players. We've got boys coming from Holland, from the UK. We've really we've tapped a little bit into that international market as well.
So you got a lot of guys coming from all over the place coming to check out the academy. That's fantastic.
From all over the world.
All right, folks. I think that's about time for us to wrap it up. What a jam-packed show! So much action there. Faisal, next week, what's on the cards for you guys?
From my side, looking forward to the break.
Are you going? When do you guys close? When do you leave?
Well, I was planning on next week, the 12th, but it seems now we have a council meeting on the 17th, so it looks like I'll be here for another week. But I think from my side, it's just more the planning and preparations for the season. So next week I'll be focusing more on that fixtures and trying to complete all of the fixtures for the season.
The fixtures list, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it all starts again, the fixtures. Willie, thanks for joining us on the show. We look forward to your progression, I think, with Hammies. You guys getting started with the Community Cup. That's not too far off now, so good luck. Thanks. If I can just say one thing, if there's any youngsters out there that are still looking to apply to the academy, they can send through their CVs to info@wprugbyacademy.com. Okay, well there you see the email address on the screen, info@wp rugbyacademy.com. All right, there you can see it on the screen right now. So if you're out there and you're a kid watching, you want to come down to Western Province and you get involved in the Western Province structures, well, that's one way to get your foot in the door. All right, Faisal, thanks to you as well. I know the Currie Cup trophy is probably going to travel you a little bit still as well. Huh?
Yeah. No, thanks, Japes. It's good being here.
All right. There we go, folks. Cape Rugby TV. Remember, Wednesday nights. Remember, you can catch our repeat, incidentally, on Saturdays at 9 a.m. as well. Terrestrially off the Tygerberg transmitter in Cape Town and on DSTV on channel 263. Remember, you can find us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Cape Rugby TV, or on Twitter @Cape Rugby TV. And please tell us what's happening at your club, all right? Our show doesn't end. We keep going right through, and we want to know what you're up to. We know that a lot of the clubs are going to continue doing pre-season training. Some of the clubs are busy with administration training sessions, and some of the clubs are even busy still doing their final awards. Let us know what you're doing at your club. We'll see you again next week, same time, same place. Have a fantastic rugby weekend. Bye-bye.